Hello everyone, I, Alpa Ghosh, Assistant Professor, Department of Management, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Today we are going to introduce with a new topic, capital budgeting. So let's start. We are going to start with the introduction and we will be seeing two types of methods which fall under traditional method. So let's start with our happy learning. There are few questions to be answered. The first one talks about that before knowing what is capital budgeting, the first question that comes to our mind is it worth to have money into fixed assets, to put money into fixed assets? When we put money into the fixed assets, will that be a fruitful investment option? Is it worth to put money into a new venture, or is it worth to buy certain machines, certain fixed assets? The answer to all this can be through capital budgeting. So when we talk about capital budgeting, it is a set of techniques which we are using to decide whether the investment that we do in projects, is it going to give us a better earnings or not. We analyze through this capital budgeting the different measures or the different techniques. We use different techniques to find out capital budgeting, the investment decision is going to give returns in our near future. Capital budgeting is the process a business undertakes to evaluate potential major projects or investment. So, it is a set of techniques used to decide when to invest in the project and the returns that we are going to generate from the project. Take the examples: construction of a new plant or investment into some outside venture. When we invest into some new plant or we invest into some new venture, can we approve that investment or the investment has to be rejected? So before the acceptance of any project, we need to go with the capital budgeting decisions. So when we talk about this capital budgeting, this is a process which involves choosing projects that add value to a company. Add value means getting some returns. The capital budgeting process can involve almost anything, including acquiring land or purchasing fixed assets like a new truck or a machinery. Now, coming to the features of capital budgeting. When we talk about the features of capital budgeting, the first one is investment of funds in long-term assets. Capital budgeting makes us to invest the funds for long-term assets. That means we are investing the funds in long-term assets. Short-term assets are not included in capital budgeting. Second feature, potentially large anticipated benefits. We go for the large benefits that we are going to derive in future. Short-term benefits are ignored in capital budgeting. Third, relatively high degree of risk. The reason because we are anticipating the returns of near future and future is uncertain, so the involvement of risk is also more. Next, relatively long-term period between the initial outlay and the anticipated returns. Initial outlay, that is your investment, and the returns that we are going to derive from the investment, that is in long run. So always there is a time or long-term period between the initial outlay and the anticipated returns. The next one is the importance of capital budgeting. In this importance, the first one is growth. We are doing the capital budgeting process. We are analyzing the investment decisions for an objective of having growth. Whether the investment is going to give us any growth or not, that we can analyze through the capital budgeting techniques. The second one, as it is involving long-term capital decisions, it is involving the fixed assets, so huge amounts are involved in your capital budgeting decisions. This is more important, irreversibility. Once the decision is taken to invest or not to invest, the decision cannot be reversed. As so many techniques are involved and we are analyzing something which we are going to get the benefits, we are going to derive the benefits from the near future. So, in such a case, complexity is one of the important aspect. Next, it is risk. Of course, we had discussed in features also. Risk is one of the important aspect. We can analyze the risk element. If more risk is associated, straight away, outrightly, we can reject the decision. And the last one, a decision taken today has long-term implications. So, with the help of capital budgeting decisions, we can analyze the investment that is going to give us returns for the next 10 years, 15 years and so on. Now coming to the types of capital budgeting, we will be having discussion on two aspects. The first one is on the basis of firm's existence. Already a firm is there and the firm wants to grow more. Already a firm is existing and then it wants to go for replacement and modernization decisions. They want to go for replacement of existing assets. Capital budgeting decision helps in this manner. Second is expansion decision. Already you are functioning in one area, in one product. Now you want to extend the length and breadth of your business. So, the expansion decision will help you with the help of capital budgeting decisions. The third one is with the help of capital budgeting decisions, we can go with the diversification process of our existing business. So, expansion and diversification decisions, they are also called as revenue expansion decisions, because whatever is the reason of going for expansion or diversification, the objective is to generate more and more profits. So, that is the reason it is called as revenue expansion decisions. Coming to the next type, it is on the basis of the decision situation. That means, what is the present situation? Mutually exclusive decisions. For example, you have purchased one asset and with the purchase of that asset, you have to also purchase certain parts of that asset. That means, if you go for the purchase of a particular asset or a machinery, the parts has to be automatically accompanied with that asset. So, that is mutually exclusive decisions. Second, it is accept or reject decisions. Outrightly, if the proposal, if the project is not benefiting, then you can go for the rejection. And if you find that it is fruitful, return on investment is more, you can accept the project. The third one is contingent decisions. There are certain decisions which you have to take immediately. There is a loss, there is a shutdown, or there is a break. If there is a breakdown in the project, you have to immediately purchase that asset. So, this is your contingent decision. With the help of capital budgeting tools and techniques, these types of decisions can be taken easily. Now, coming to the evaluation criteria, we will see how many tools and techniques are used in capital budgeting decisions. It is divided into two: non-discounting and discounting. Non-discounting is also known as traditional method, where we do not take into account the present value factor. The second one is discounting criteria, where we take the time value of money, that is the present value factor of a rupee. Under this non-discounting criteria, we are going to study payback period and accounting rate of return. Under discounting criteria, it will be discounted payback, net present value, profitability index and internal rate of return. We are starting with the first one, that is non-discounting method or the traditional method as stated. In this we will be studying the payback period and the rate of return method or accounting method, that is ARR. Under discounted method, we will be having net present value method, internal rate of method and profitability index. To start with the first method, that is payback period method, the payback period refers to the period or the time which is required for the return on an investment to repay the sum of the original investment. It simply means that the payback period method is used to evaluate the number of years or months that it takes to return the initial investment. In how many months or years you are getting back your initial investment. So payback method is calculated on the basis of months or years. The simple formula for this is, you take payback period to calculate, and for this you will be requiring the initial outlay. Initial outlay of the project, which is also known as the original cost of the asset, it has to be divided by the annual cash inflow. Annual cash inflow means your annual earnings that you are going to generate. The answer to this formula is your payback period. You will get to know in what period of time your initial investment is returned to the business. So for better understanding, let's have one example. The initial cost is 1 lakh rupees. The cash inflow, that is your earnings, are 20,000 rupees annually. And how to find out the payback period? As per the formula, it is cost divided by your earnings. So it is 1 lakh divided by 20,000. The answer is 5 years. Though the earnings are available for 8 years, but within a period of 5 years, you are able to get back your initial investment. But every time it is not justified that the annual earnings are to be uniform, that is equal. So if the annual earnings are not uniform, every year there is a different earning, then we need to find out the cumulative total each year. 1 lakh is your investment, and every year you are getting 30,000, 20,000, 15,000, 15,000, 25,000 and 15,000 for 1 to 6 years respectively. Now you need to know out the payback period. So we will be doing the cumulative totals, and we can find out that at the end of 4th year, your amount is 80,000. But when we move to 5th year, the amount comes to 1,05,000. So there is a difference of 20,000 in 4th year and 5th year. We need only 1 lakh, and from this calculation we can easily find out that our payback period lies between 4th and 5th year. So what we are going to do, we are going to use it in the proportionate method, and with the use of proportionate method we can see that from 80,000 to 1 lakh we can generate it in 6 months. So the answer to us is that we are going to have this difference of 20,000 in 9.6 months. So the answer to our question is that payback period is 4 years, and adding 9.6 months in that, we are going to get the payback period as 4 years and 9.6 months. So in this period, we are going to get our initial investment back. So the next method is accounting rate of return. In accounting rate of return, we are going to find out the return on investment or the average return on investment, and this has to be expressed in terms of percentage. So anything when expressed in terms of percentage, it has to be multiplied by 100%. So in order to find out how to go with it, here is the formula. The accounting rate of return on investment method is total annual profit divided by net investment. Total annual profit, and this profit has to be after tax and depreciation. Net investment, that means your initial investment. If they are asking about average investment, then that net investment has to be divided by 2. And if they are asking about average annual profit, then the total profit has to be divided with the number of years of profit. So let's go with an example. The cost of investment is 5 lakhs and the scrap is 20,000. So when 5 lakh is your investment and your scrap is 20,000, your net investment is 4,80,000. The net profits are given for 5 years respectively. You need to find out the average profit. So add up all the profits and divide it by 5. Your average profit is 48,000. So your net investment 4,80,000. Your average profit is 48,000. Putting it into the formula, average profit divided by net investment multiplied by 100, your ARR comes to 10%. Next it is average return on average investment. Average return, that means average annual profit, total profit divided by number of years of profit. Average investment, that is total investment or net investment divided by 2. So this is your average return on average investment. So here your average profit is 1,500 and 2,000 for different 2 machines. Your average rate of return is 7.5% and 6.6%. When it comes to average investment, it is 10,000 and 15,000, and on the basis of average return on average investment, the ARR is 15% and 13.3%. So on the basis of this, project A is suggested to be undertaken. Here is one more question. The cost of the machine is 60,000 and 2 machines are given, machine E and machine F. We have to find out the average return on average investment. Let's see. This is the format. The returns are before tax, so we need to apply tax. So you have for machine E, your profits before tax is for all the 5 years respectively 15,000, 20,000, 25, 15 and 10. 50% is tax, so your profit after tax comes to this. Profit before tax was 5,000, so this is for machine F. So total it is 42,500 and here it is 45,000. Coming to the calculations, 42,000 and 45,000. Average profit is 42,500 for the first one and 45,000 for the second one. When we divide it by 5, the answer is 8,500, and for the second one, the answer is 9,000. We know the total investment 60,000, average investment divided by 2, 30,000. Divide your profit 8,500 by 30,000, your answer is 28.33. You divide 9,000 by 30,000, your answer is 30%. So looking into these two calculations on the basis of average return on average investment, we can say that machine F is more profitable, hence it may be recommended. If we have working capital and scrap, then there is a slight change in your average investment. The slight change means your average investment, initial investment by 2 goes as it is, but when there is a scrap, in case of scrap, there is a change in calculation. Initial investment and installation charges goes as it is. You are going to minus scrap, divide by 2 and add back your scrap. When there is scrap and working capital both, minus scrap is okay, divided by 2 same, you have to add working capital along with the scrap value. This whole calculations are only for average investment in case you are having working capital and scrap value. So let us take the example for this. We have 3 conditions. There is no scrap value. There is a scrap value at the end of the 5th year, rupees 80,000, and in the third case, there is a scrap value plus working capital. So the total of the profits, you can see it is 4,60,000, and the total investment is 9,80,000 plus installation charge, that is 9,80,000 plus 20,000, it comes to 10 lakhs. Take the case 1 where there is only installation charges, no scrap, no working capital. So total profit is 4,60,000. When you have a total profit of 4,60,000, number of years of profit is 5, average is 92,000. You have average investment of 9,80,000 plus installation, divide by 2, the answer is 5 lakhs. So average profit divided by average investment multiplied by 100 as per the formula, your answer is 18.4% in case of ARR when there is no scrap, no working capital. Now coming to the second case, when you have a scrap value of 80,000, the average investment will be having a difference. So 10 lakh is your profit, 80,000 is your scrap, divided by 2, it comes to 10 lakh minus 80,000, it is 9,20,000, divided by 2, it comes to 4,60,000 plus 80,000 of your scrap, your average investment is 5,40,000. Now you divide your average profit with your average investment. You can see the ARR is 17.4% when you have a scrap. Coming to the third situation, in the third case, you have a scrap, along with it working capital also. So when you have a scrap and an additional working capital, this is your investment, this is your scrap, divided by 2 plus 80,000 is your scrap and 1 lakh is your working capital. Put it in the formula, add scrap and working capital, your average investment is 6,40,000. Putting it into the formula, 92,000 is your average profit, 6,40,000 is your average investment. Multiply by 100, your ARR in the third case comes to 14.38%. So this is the difference when we have scrap and working capital. Then we have to make the calculations as per average investment. So that's all for today. Thank you everyone for your patience listening. Next module will be on discounted cash flow, that is net present value. Thank you.